Alright, so this is episode 7, The Target's Second Son. We're gonna continue with the friendship scheme, I assume, even if it did not start off well. Anya made sure that Damien knows that he could catch these hands anytime. But hey, you never know, maybe he likes it. Anyways, she did end up making friends with Becky Blackbell, who is the daughter of a CEO of a major military contractor, which is just great. And I assume that she's in the same house or dorm. She's not living in a dorm, but she's in the same class as Henry Henderson, since that was supposedly his punishment. He was going to teach the class of new kids, which is nice to know that he is still around, but this is just his punishment. Albeit, in his mind, he was just like, well, I gotta whip these kids back into shape like I used to do. We also had a nice slow moment between Anya and Yuri, since, as I said in the previous episode, we didn't really have scenes of them alone, them having alone time with each other, minus Lloyd. So it was nice for them to have that. And then, with Yuri, she was the one who taught Anya her killer punch. But towards the end of the episode, it feels like things aren't looking well yet again, with the forgers not having a good time at the end with the photo taking. But again, we'll just have to see how it goes. I don't know why I'm putting my earphones on, but until then, I do have my full-length reaction up on Patreon, which you guys can check out in the description down below. Other than that, let us get started. Alright, so that was episode 7 of Spy X Family. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments down below. You know that I always like talking to you guys. My earbuds got tangled for a second there. But for me, I thought that this was a pretty nice episode. We got just a tiny little taste of the classes, and then throughout the whole first half, or the 3/3 of the episode, it was just Anya trying to apologize to Damien, but we also see that Damien is starting to have a little feelings for Anya, she really, he caught those hands, definitely, and he seems like he's catching something else as well, something that's within his heart, that's making his heart go doki doki. God, I just internally cringe when I said that. But, something that gets his heart racing, he just doesn't know what that feeling yet because he's a kid, so of course he doesn't. You know what the saying is with kids in kindergartens and all that, if they like a girl, they end up bullying her. Okay, that just... making fun of them or teasing them, that sort of thing, is what they feel like they would do. I don't know. That's just something that I hear apparently boys when they're younger do when they like a girl. I don't know. I've never seen this shit before. I remember my kindergarten days. Anyways, we saw that Anya was trying her best to apologize to Damien, but Becky was over here constantly stopping her from doing it, to which, her reason for it, which is, you don't need to apologize, it was their fault in the first place. It was an understandable thing from Becky, you see that she's a very headstrong sort of girl. She doesn't really mince her words, and she will say it and she will say what she thinks. So, that's why I really like Becky. Throughout the entire thing, Lloyd ended up following her to school because he wanted to make sure that Anya apologizes to Damien, but Becky just keeps getting in the way. Eventually, he decides that Becky is the problem, so he takes Becky away, and that gave Anya the ability or the opportunity to apologize to Damien. But we also saw that because she punched Damien, and people don't really know the reason why he punched Damien, because of course he's the Donovan Desmond's son. He's part of the Desmond family, so of course they're not going to reveal that he was bullying her, so all the kids around her assume that she's just this violent girl, and that she punched him for no reason, and that they might get punched next if they don't pay attention or if they get too close to her. So because of that, Anya starts to feel like school is scary. School is a scary place. It doesn't help that seamstress had also talked about how there's an off chance that she could get bullied and all that jazz. So sucks to suck. But with Becky being by her side, at the very least, she feels like school is scary, but not that much, So at the very least, she still has a friend in school. So very nice of Becky. I really like Becky, and I feel like, she will be, if you continue to be her friend, a good friend, she will probably be that ride or die sort of friend. So anyways, with the opportunity that Anya got to go and apologize to Damien, his two goons are just out here insulting her in their thoughts because they're just waiting for Damien to insult her, and they're just, in their thoughts, they're just like, what is he going to tell her, huh? Yeah, maybe she's going to say that maybe he's going to say she's got those lame hairs that look like horns, those hair things. She's got stubby legs, come on, Damien, let's go, let's go and insult her. Albeit, we have seen how he insulted Anya before, which is just a bunch of uggos. So, the fact that these boys have way better vocabularies in insulting someone than Damien. But because she's been reading all their thoughts about the fact that these guys are just insulting her, she ends up crying about it. And, she's not crying because she feels really sad about Damien. About punching Damien. She just feels really sad because they're insulting her in their minds. So it was just she really hit Damien with the feels, and Damien ends up getting all red and bothered. But, being the boy who's filled with pride, he did say, I'm part of the Desmond family. I was born into privilege. I have, basically, people should grovel under my feet. So the fact that there's this girl who's making him feel this way that he's never felt before. He also has said that nobody has ever punched him before, Even his older brother has never hit him before. And here's this girl who just came in and fucking fisted him. Oh, that just sounds odd. Punched him. Hit him. His pride just couldn't handle it, so he says that he'd rather die than admit it. He doesn't forgive her, and he just runs away. And Lloyd and Anya hearing that, they don't really realize that this is actually just a boy who doesn't understand his feelings, so the both of them are feeling pretty sad about it. Just sucks to suck at both of y'all. But another day, another opportunity, so we'll just have to see. It's not game over just yet. We still have, like, the entire year. Operation Strix doesn't really have a deadline yet anyways. We haven't seen it yet, but I would assume they do want it to be as soon as possible, but you can't really establish friendship that easily, especially with a boy like Damien, I'm just saying. But after that scene, we saw Lloyd is essentially forcing Anya to do some studying, and Anya wanted to get over the whole studying thing, so she was trying to see if she could just read Lloyd's thoughts. But Lloyd, despite him telling her to do the math test, he's not actually thinking about the math test, he's thinking about the bigger picture and what will happen to his mission and all that, so that gets Anya a little confused. She tried to look into Yuri's mind, but Yuri's, at this point, Yuri's just me, I'm not good at math either. And so Lloyd does the bad thing of, if you do not do this, you will not get to watch your spy show. So Anya finally gives up and she runs away, and we have a nice little conversation between Lloyd and Yor. Yor was talking more about her brother Yuri, which we saw again towards the end of the episode. But she was talking about how he ended up learning so much because he just really wanted her to praise him. And that is sort of what Yor has been doing to Anya. She's been giving Anya a lot of praises, while Lloyd has just kind of been this sturdy dad who doesn't really give her lots of praises. And we've seen Anya in previous episode trying to get praises from him, like with the introduction in episode 3, I think, when Yuri comes into the family and Anya was trying to tell her that she was doing all these good things, you know, like, am I a good girl? You know, I help with the cleaning, I help with the, with baking the cookies, but Lloyd is just not having it, and he doesn't really give her the praises that she wants, so he just straight out says things like, you didn't even clean, you just tripped over a bucket, or you just sneezed into a bowl of flour and then you were picking peanuts after that. So, you know, we do see that during this whole time, and also in episode 5, I think, episode 5 as well, you know, where Anya wanted to be praised and she wanted a reward for getting into the school, and thus we have that whole freaking shenanigan at the castle. It was very nice, and it was nice for Yor to teach him that maybe give her a little fucking reward, give her small little praises here and there. It will really help her, really help encourage her along the way. So that's what I said. Mathematics of Yoiko. What is Yoiko? Is Yoiko, I guess, you know, in the language class, it said the language of Yoiko. So the language is Yoiko? Anyways, you know, instead of dishing out punishments, it's sort of like what Lloyd said, if you don't do this, you won't be able to watch Spy Wars. You know, instead of saying that, maybe give her rewards instead. If you do this, then you will get this instead, you know? And yeah, like every little things that she does, you can give her a little praise so then she could feel good about herself. So it was very nice that we got to have this little conversation between Lloyd and Yor, for some reason, is just kind of going on this path of like, oh, I'm sorry for butting into family affairs, or I'm sorry for saying all of these when I'm just a stranger. And it's just like, come on, Yor, you're part of the family already. You know, you even said in the previous episode that you wanted to be more motherly towards her. Lloyd corrects her and said like, hey, you're not a stranger, you're not a part of anybody else's family, you're part of our family. So it was very nice. He also invited her to help out with the studying for Anya as well, since we know that Yor is very good at giving these small little praises to Anya. So towards the end of that, Lloyd goes into Anya's room and he sees that Anya was trying to study, since we had that one scene of her in her room thinking back on episode 5 where she was saying, you know, she wants to do her best at school. And even though she hasn't really, she's trying to do her best, but things, they're just on the right, they're on the wrong foot at the current moment. But you know, you've still got time. You can still make up to Damien or whatever. You can still get Stella stars. So we see that Anya was still, in her own way, trying her best, which was trying to study, but then she just fell asleep. So there's that fucking good shit. It was very nice. Also, I forgot to mention during the talk of Lloyd and Yor reminded Lloyd, since Lloyd was like, oh, I forgot I needed to be the ideal father. That's the whole point of this mission. You know, he was thinking, like, I'm not really her real father anyway, so, like, what's the point of praising her and all that? But Yor reminded him that during the interview, Anya did give both of them a perfect 100, so in the eyes of Anya, they are the ideal parents to her anyway, so it was a nice thing that Yor reminded him of, and overall, I like their conversation. And yeah, all of that done. We have the appearance of Yuri finally, that fucking boy that we have been teased on for a while, but we finally get to see his face. He finally gets to hear the news that Yor is married, so I wonder if we will see him in the next episode as he goes, since he says that he's finally home now. His job has gotten him away from his home for such a long time. He hasn't seen anybody in a while. You know, when he was talking to Dominic. So I thought that was pretty nice. So yeah, I'm excited to see if we see more of Yuri in the next episode, and how Yor is going to deal with that, since Lloyd did say that they were going to figure out what they were going to tell to her brother later on. So it seems like later on is now. So, or next week anyways. So, we'll just have to see. So it's going to be nice. Perhaps we will learn a little bit more about Yuri. I mean, after looking at the ending multiple times and seeing that boy, I already have an idea of what he's doing. He's also working in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, so. But alright. If I have anything else to say, I will write it in the description down below. Thank you guys for sticking around, and I will see you guys when I see you guys.